Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a fantastic rack. I have outline and illusion. Illusion has fewer hooks. Wow, what a pickup. That looks very close to a bingo. Not sure if there's a 7. I have dinosaur through an I. What about an E? Possibly rondos, but I think that takes an X. How about the N? Not seeing anything there. No E on this rack, which makes it slightly harder to find a bingo. I have rotundas through a T. What about the O? That could be a double-double. No, not seeing anything. Wow, opponent gets the double-double and blocks dinosaur. So what do I have? Possibly unsawed through an E. How about through an S? Not seeing anything. And is there really... I still have rotundas. That's handy. Do I really not have a 7? Let me consider tiles in turn as initial letters. Well, no. I'm not seeing a 7. Very high probability letters. And looking at these tiles, it's only the S as a floater, which could give me a double word square. So I'm going with rotundas. Wow, what an amazing pickup. That looks jolly close to another bingo. I've blocked argosies. Not seeing a 7. Any 7 would play in column 13 because of illusions. Not too many floaters on the board. And with 4 vowels, I would need probably a consonant to bingo. Not seeing anything with an R. What about an L? Girasol and Seraglio and Gasolia. Great. Opponent's bingo run ends after 1 bingo. Mine continues. Do I have anything through an O? No. So I have Girasol. I think Seraglio. Well, Seraglio scores the most because it gets the G doubled, but it places a vowel next to this double letter square, which could provide a big score. So I'm going to take a score sacrifice and play Girasol. R only takes an E, so I'm restricting what opponent can score in column 8. Well, my bingo run ends. This is super non-bingo-y, but it's almost always good to see the Z. I have Vodged on my rack, VOZHD. Girasol only takes an S, so I don't have that in row J, or indeed anywhere. Well, I have it in row F, because Vodged takes an S. And I'm drawn to that word, not only for its score, but because it clears out the V, the Z, and the H. As a general rule of thumb, it's good to have a rackly which contains a maximum of 1 high-scoring tile. And it's certainly not possible to get rid of all of my high-scoring tiles in one go. So, how's the score looking? 190 points, that's pretty good. But opponent not out of it, only a bingo behind. But both blanks have gone. Opponent had them, but he had them on the same turn, so he could only score 1 bingo with them rather than 2. Now, opponent has played and he's blocked my Vodged spot. How frustrating, 22 points. I was rather hoping that might remain available. I haven't got an alternative play. Well, I do now. I have Vodged here for 42. But do I have anything in column 5? Because car takes an O, AS takes a V or a Z, so that looks possible. I have FOH in that spot. Well, for a similar score, but I'm retaining the V, and I quite like burning the V. Yeah, and my F is available for FAS and for going next to the E of Trulies. Do I have anything in column 8? I do have an O for going next to the G, but again, nothing which burns a lot of high-scoring tiles. I'm going with Vodged. Well, no bingo here, but quite a nice rack. Duplicates are often unwelcome, but duplicate F goes well together and is generally not a problem. A lot of short words have double F in them. So, for example, I could play toff in column 12. I don't have anything great in column 8. I would like to get rid of both Fs because they're non-bingo-y. So, what other options are available? Wow, fantastic bingo by opponents, 62 points. My lead, despite 3 back-to-back bingos, is only 40 points. Ibogaine takes an S, nothing else. So, do I have any 5-letter plays beginning with F? FL. Wow, so close. FLO and FLI both work, but I can't go further than flit. That's a shame. And opponents blocked the toff spot. What do I have in column 5? I have diff and doff here, 29 points. Can I do any better? Nothing I've got goes in front of IO. So what about doff in this spot? 34 points, not giving terribly much away. I'm minded to go with this. I hope I'm not missing a 5-letter F play. That would score probably over 50 points. Well, I'm not seeing it. I'm going with doff. Pretty good. Very close to a bingo, but the F is the problem tile. Ochre takes an H in front. Now, could I have a bingo with this rack? It feels close. Not seeing anything. Now, do I have a 5-letter play in row N, either ending in P or beginning with F? Well, do I? I thought I had an FL play. I don't think flipped is good, ending with a T. Well, this looks a lot closer to a 5-letter play than the last rack. Well, I have flirt. Fantastic, I do have a play, and that takes an S, but I think the score of 50 points is going to be worth taking that risk. So, supposing that's blocked, do I have a play ending in P? Not necessarily using the F. Well, not that I can see. So, any other big spots to consider? Well, I have flirt in row N, but only putting a 1-point tile on this triple letter square, so that's not going to score terribly much. Just in the low 20s. Riff flip plays in row C, a nice word, but doesn't score very much. So, what about a play beginning with P above the A of ibogaine. And I'm looking for a play which uses the F. It would be nice to burn both of them. No, I'm not seeing a play. I do have flap, but that doesn't get doubled. Well, I feel I've exhausted most of the spots on this board. What about ES? Could there be a bingo through ES? So that could end files or flies. Just 24 points for opponent. Interesting. So I've still got flirt for 51. I also have pelf through the E, keeping a better rack leave of AIRT for only 26. Flirt on a score and rack leave basis is better. Relooms takes nothing in front. I'm going with this. Well, good to see the J, but 3 high-scoring tiles, no S, so I'm not bingoing. I have Benj in column 4. Wow, that's going to be a big score. Does opponent have an S? He trails by 100, but a bingo would have him breathing down my neck again, and it would be a high-scoring bingo because it would be tripled. So, supposing opponent blocks Benj, row L quite hot as well as column 4. Where else can my J go? It can only score once above Vojt. What about a play in column 8? I can play Jin, but that's keeping B and P. I'd quite like to play off 2 of those. Great, Benj remains available. Has opponent provided anything else? Well, I suspect this won't score as much, but I do have Bajan for 34. Benj is 42, that's better. 24 tiles in the bag. What about a play in row L? I think the best I can see there is jab. Only 34 points, so Benj certainly looking best. Let me check the remaining vowels. 11 out of 31. That's good, because I'm keeping a vowel, a rack leave which is equal in terms of vowels and consonants, and generally you would like to keep more consonants, but when the bag is vowel dry, that offsets that demerit. So Benj for 42. Well, not great, but also quite good, because I have an A, D and I for making chi and caddy and keyed. Surely one of those will play. And I have cat in row B for a 30 plus score. Quite handy with just 20 tiles left and 100 odd point lead to hold on to. Remaining tiles fairly bingo-y. And a super hot bingo lane available in column 15 that I can't do terribly much about. Except I can. I have Cade in row M. Wow. Will that remain available? It does not. But look at that. Opponent burns that super hot bingo lane for only 30 points. So I'm quite happy with that. And I have a spot for cats for over 30 points, but I'd quite like to split up duplicate I. I can do that quite nicely here with caddy for 54 points. Q not dangerous in row A. The G of Gyrosol saving that from being a massive 9-timer spot. Rack lead pretty good. Even though the bag's vowel dry, the presence of 1 vowel on my rack should be enough to keep me out of trouble. And I quite like hammering on with the points. It means that if a bingo comes down, I'm in good shape to survive. So, can I do any better than caddy for 54? I note that that also plays in column 10, making Eta. Well, I'm not seeing a better spot. I'm going with this. Pretty good. Through a T, I would have optative. T of tower not available. Not seeing a 7 here. And not too many lanes, not too many floaters to consider, but hardly surprising when we're approaching the end game. Just 12 tiles in the bag. So, what do I need to consider? Column 3 quite hot as a bingo lane, overlapping caddy, and also as a non-bingo lane. I have pivot in that spot, which will score quite nicely. Geese has a number of front extensions, bar geese and car geese, for example. Mongoose, possibly. Possibly not. Let me check the remaining vowels. 4 out of 19. Wow. The bag was vowel dry, and I've drawn vowels, so it's even drier. Opponent's taken that pivot spot in column 3, which is annoying. I hadn't lined up an alternative. But column 13 looks quite handy. I don't think column 2 is great for me. Now, what about row B? I have Vita. Quite nice, but it takes an E, so I am setting up a bingo lane. 32 points. But what I was looking at is column 13. Do I have something down here? Neither V nor P goes next to the A, but both of them go next to TA. Gosh, 8 tiles in the bag, 11 minutes on my clock. Do I have anything ending in J? I don't. Vita is looking more attractive. The remaining tiles, look at this, just the 3 vowels out of 15, and pretty non-bingo-y with UWYY. So this is probably not a massive bingo risk. It's a good score. I like the vowel-heavy rack leaf, given how few vowels are left. I am setting up a spot even for a non-bingo to score well, and there are W's and Y's out there, but that's not going to impact the end of the game. I think the only thing to consider is, should I be doing something like Tav down here? 27 points, giving away nothing, retaining a decent rack leave in the circumstances. I think I will do this. Vita was only 5 more points, and it was definitely setting up a hot spot. Ah, well, I certainly cannot do that. WA, not good. So, what about playing Vote? 25 points. Not giving much away, keeping a decent rack leave. How am I doing for time? 9 minutes on my clock. Yeah, I am going with this. Wow. I draw the second P and duplicate Y, but this isn't a terrible rack to have in the circumstances. I think the game is won. Only 4 tiles in the bag, so opponent can bingo a maximum of once. No super hot lanes. And the P and the Y can be used for score. I don't have anything great in column 8. I would be looking to play off at least 2 of Y and P. I have Yippee on my rack, which does play in column 14. Does it play anywhere else? Great, just 29 points for opponent. That's not terribly much. What a shame Yippee and Yappy don't play higher up, but they don't. So the bag is empty. I can see what opponent's got. He hasn't got a bingo. So Yippee for 30, keeping AD, which would play next to the Y. Am I gifting anything to opponent? I don't think I am. The best he can do here is EW for 30, but then I'll get a ton on count back. But is this the best? I don't have anything which goes next to AT, so I don't have anything great higher up. V is hampering row J, destroying it. Row O not available. Wow, I'm amazed Yippee scores quite as much as it does, 30 points. I'm certainly not seeing anything like that elsewhere. I'm going with this. And Yappy would also have been available. And I probably should have played Yappy because then I would have had Vid as an alternative. Well, it wouldn't have been an alternative because then I wouldn't have had id and yi because yi not good. And keeping AD, my alternative to add and yar is add and aha. Opponent's gone there. Nice score, 44 points. Playing all of his high-scoring tiles. So 7 minutes on my clock. Is add best? So this is what I'm looking at. Add for 24. Can I score more than 24? Let me have a quick squiz down the board. I have 7 minutes. Voted as good. Still not seeing anything. What about DA and R? 22. No, I'm not seeing anything better. And the final score, 362 for my opponent, 500 for me, a winning margin of 138 points. So a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. 500 points. Great fun. So me to go first, and I had an amazing start with Illusion. Opponent has both blanks, comes back with a double-double to take the lead. And now Rotunda's the only bingo. Wow, I'm astonished. I felt that I'd played that a lot more quickly than I would have done in a real game, and I was expecting there to be a whole raft of bingos, but there weren't. And Rotunda's was the only one. Opponent's rack plays EXO, and now the bingos through L are the only ones available. And I chose Gyrosol because Seraglio placed an E next to this double letter square. So I have a bingo's lead. Opponent plays Kai. And I have Vodged for 42. But Zoe available, B5. Interesting. 6 more points, but retaining the V. So probably not terribly much between those plays. But I think Vodged is better. Great bingo by opponent. Ib again, a 5 vowel 8, always tricky to spot. And now there's just 40 points between us. Philfot, A5. Wow, that's nice. What do? I play Doff in the same column, keeping Flit. So not terribly much between those. But Philfot's certainly a nice play. Opponent's rack plays Relooms. And I have Flirt for 51. Unbalanced rack for opponent, a lot of vowels, plays Tower, which leaves the bottom left alone for Benj, which looks best. And now I have a decent lead, 130 points. Opponent's struggling with a lot of vowels. Plays Geese. And I have Caddy for 54, so the tiles were just falling my way, and opponent couldn't do anything about it. Plays Hahn. And, oh, interesting. I thought about Vitter, was concerned about the E hook, but I did have the E myself. But I wouldn't have done that because that would have set up a triple lane. So what do? I play vote for 25. And vote would have played in column 8 for more points, so perhaps I should have considered that. Opponent's rack plays cute. And now Yappy and Yippy were the two moves I thought about in column 14. Both look fine. Opponent has Coombe in column 2. Could have played Coombs in column 15. And now this is my final rack, and I have add for 24, which looks fine. So, what a game. Absolutely tremendous fun. Blistering start from both of us with bingos on our opening racks. Opponent with both blanks. But opponent's luck changed. He ran out of bingo straight away. I managed to get 3 on the trot down, and then was also fortunate to draw well and have big scores with Flirt and Caddy. So I ran out a fairly comfortable winner in the end, and always great fun to have games like that, probably more so for me than my opponent. So many thanks to my opponent for a good game. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.